Welcome to Super Powerful Spell Combinations in D&D 5e Part 5, I think? Basically, I'll be taking two spells and mashing them together to create an incredibly powerful effect. Quick disclaimer before we get into the video, some of these combos do require more than one caster, mostly because of concentration. These combos will also vary in level required, so even a 3rd level spellcaster will get something interesting out of this video. Also, be sure to check out parts 1 through 4 for more spell shenanigans. I link them in the description below. But with that out of the way, let's go ahead and start off with probably one of the most broken combinations I've ever put in one of these videos, and that's one that I like to call the Curse of Silver. It technically becomes available at level 5 and is the combination of the 3rd level spell Bestow Curse and the 1st level spell Silvery Barbs. Bestow Curse allows you to touch one creature and effectively curse them, giving them a plethora of negative side effects. One of those effects is disadvantage on any check that has to do with a certain stat. Aside from that, the only other side effect that we really care about from being cursed is they have to make a wisdom saving throw at the start of their turn, and if they fail, they don't do anything on their turn. And the spell allows you to double down. If you curse wisdom stat, then they get disadvantage on their save for the spell as well. But what about the Silvery Barbs part of this combo? Well, Bestow Curse isn't instant, it does require a wisdom saving throw, and since they're not already cursed, it's just a straight wisdom roll. Or is it? Silvery Barbs is a reaction spell that you can use to essentially force a creature to roll another d20 and take the lowest roll. So, if you use Silvery Barbs to make sure that they're cursed, then you can effectively give them disadvantage on all their wisdom saving throws going forward, meaning that they have a very, very low chance of being able to do something on their turn. And even if they succeed on one of those saving throws, you could then use Silvery Barbs again to essentially give them super disadvantage on one of those rolls to make sure, just to make sure that they are not moving that round. And yes, I know disadvantage doesn't stack, but Silvery Barbs doesn't impose disadvantage, it forces them to roll another d20 and take the lowest roll, effectively forcing them to roll 3 d20s and take the lowest of all 3. My patented super disadvantage. Is this combo a bit broken? Yes. In fact, it's probably game-breaking. But hey, I'm just here to tell you the facts. Let's move on to combo 2, which is something that I like to call... what? Oh, Torture. This spell is available at level 3 and requires 2 casters to pull off because of concentration. It includes the 2nd level spells Levitate and Heat Metal. The caveat to this spell is that it does require the target creature to have metal somewhere on their body, you know, obviously for the heat metal purposes of it. So it's going to be more useful against humanoids probably wearing armor. Anyways, Levitate forces a creature to make a Constitution saving throw or be levitated in the air 20 feet. The thing about Levitate is, if you fail your first save, you're screwed. You're levitating up there because there are no continual saves to break the effect. Not to mention the fact that if you're levitating, you can only move by pushing or pulling off of solid objects like walls, ceilings, or other people. So if there's nothing to push or pull off of, you're stuck there the entire duration of the spell, which is 10 minutes. Now the torture part of this comes in when you add heat metal to the equation. Heat metal does exactly that. It heats metal to a point where it will do damage to a creature, 2d8 specifically. The creature then needs to make a Constitution saving throw to hold on to whatever is heated, or they'll drop it. If they can't drop it, perhaps if it's something like armor, then they just have to deal with it. Since heat metal is concentration, you can effectively do this every round as a bonus action for the entire minute that it's up. Dealing damage over and over again, that target essentially becomes a giant floating miserable marshmallow. You can probably see why I call this combo torture. As long as your characters are okay with doing something like this, then this is a very, very effective way of dealing out a lot of damage or getting information in a very intimidating and effective way. Granted, this combo is near sociopathic, and quite honestly, I'm a little worried that I thought about it. Anyways, let's move on to the next combo. This combo is something that I like to call Spirit Wave, and I think without items, it's only available for Tempest Clerics or Oath of the Crown Paladins. It combines the 3rd level spell Spirit Guardians and the 5th level spell Destructive Wave. Spirit Guardians is a concentration spell that causes spirits to essentially swirl around you in a 15-foot radius. These spirits last for a minute, they have the movement speed of any target creature that you essentially choose in there, and deal 3d8 damage per round. In other words, a very good spell for someone who likes to get up close and personal with enemies. Destructive Wave sends out a destructive wave from the caster within a 30-foot radius around you and knocking enemies prone that fail a save. The synergy of these two spells is since Spirit Guardians have movement speed and Destructive Wave knocks enemies prone, you effectively guarantee 2 rounds of damage from this combo. meaning if this combo goes off without a hitch, you get 10d6 damage plus 3d8 damage to every creature within 15-foot radius around you. This combo does require a little bit of setup, but honestly, considering the amount of damage it does in an area around you, I think it's probably worth it if you can get it going. But now we get on to combo 4, which is a spell combo that I like to call the Glyph of Summoning. This combines the 3rd level spell Glyph of Warding with effectively any of the summoning spells. But for the example, I'll use the Summon Lesser Demon. ADT needs to move over because this is the ultimate home defense system. Glyph of Warding effectively creates a magical glyph that has a varied effect. The effect can essentially be an explosion, which honestly would be effective, but it can also be a spell that you choose and cast into the glyph. Not only that, you can very specifically choose what triggers the glyph as well. Maybe if someone picks something up they're not supposed to, maybe they open the door and you don't want them to come in. Any trigger you choose, if you set it, that glyph will go off. Summon Lesser Demons summons between 2 to 8 demons of varying challenge rating depending upon what's rolled. And yeah, you effectively have your very own demonic watchdogs. Simply cast your preferred summon spell on the glyph, wait for this unfortunate soul to come wandering into your house uninvited, and then all of a sudden they're being onslaughted by waves of demons. Hopefully more than 2, but either way, it's still funny. It might be 2 maw demons, or 8 abyssal chickens. You're not gonna know. Either way, you'll know someone tried to break into your house when you'll see the splatters of blood all over your walls. Definitely a DIY home defense system, but effective nonetheless. Which brings us to our 5th and final combo for this video, and that is something that I like to call Telekinetic Burns. This is the combination of the 4th level spell Wall of Fire and the 5th level spell Telekinesis. If you thought Torture was bad, this one might be a little bit worse. Wall of Fire, as you may have guessed, creates a Wall of Fire. The thing about the Wall of Fire, though, is it only deals damage on one side at a 10-foot range, dealing 5d8 damage on a failed dex save or half as much on a successful one. Either way, that person's not going to have fun. But enemies could always just take the hit and move out of the fire, and then what's done is done, right? Well, this is where Telekinesis kicks in. Telekinesis is a contested check for their strength versus your spell casting ability roll, and effectively allows you to move them 30 feet in whatever direction you want from their current position. Assuming they fail their save, you can just pop them right back into that wall of fire and they'll have to repeat the whole thing over again. And it's kind of a nice bonus that Telekinesis gives the Restrain condition, which also happens to give disadvantage on dex checks, which happens to be the check you need to make to, take half damage from Wall of Fire, so it really synergizes pretty well. This combo, compared to the earlier one similar to this, while it deals more damage and technically can affect more creatures, it is significantly harder to pull off, but it does have a much higher payout. Just something to consider when you're thinking of all of your options. Anyways, that's all I have for today's video. Like I mentioned earlier, I have made 4 other spell combo videos. If you're interested in that, I have linked them in the description box below for you to check out. And if you have any spell combos that I haven't mentioned, or just ones that you think are fun, please leave a comment, I would love to hear it. I always read comments, almost always reply to them, and who knows, I might even feature it in the next video. But anyways, thank you very much for watching, that's all I got for today. Stay safe, have fun, and we'll see you on Friday.